there was Raila the Luo, politician, which everybody understood and read him to be that. And yet in my reality is that I came later on to find out that Raila was actually one of the most detribalized Kenyans. He didn't care which tribe you came with. He had so many members of the Kikuyu community. He had so many people from the coast. And he was coming out as this person who's going to stand up for the things that many Kenyans knew about him. But for me, I think the most important one is that at the point when Raila began to discuss his politics and present it to Kenyans, I think it's very few of us, and you were there, who actually understood that Raila is setting up whether he is going to be a social democrat, which is what he always stood up for, basically social public service, provision of reprieve for poor people, making sure that Kenyans are treated fairly, whether it was in education, health, and all these things. And yet at the same time, as Raila was struggling with him explaining to us to understand what this social democracy thing was, I personally then understood that Raila was actually talking about the very basic things that Kenyans wanted. Free education. I mean, I remember sitting through some of the meetings which we had. Of course, once or twice I sat where President Kibaki was sitting. And the issues were very passionate. And like Mheshimiwa Bet has said, I don't remember a single day that Raila came to a meeting and he had to ask for notes. The talking points were there.
Yeah.
When we were going into South Sudan, as I'm saying, the story is so big. You know what many Kenyans may not know is that South Sudan was not supposed to have independence.
This isn't just any chat, it's click-up chat.
Why? Because by the time John Garang died, there was a discussion going on as whether South Sudan should actually remain part of the bigger Sudan or whether the South Sudanese should secede. And that singular call, with the intervention of President Kibaki, when we were sitting in the president's office, Raila asked the president, he said, do you really think the South Sudanese don't want to be independent? Kibaki said, no, make the call. And Raila said, we are going to South Sudan and we are going to make South Sudan independent. That's when I begin to see Raila making decisions, and those decisions bore fruits. And the other issue, Yvonne, that was very important, because Franklin Bet is young, he's been in State House and all that. Raila never really hated you. You would disagree with them. That is my experience.
Yes,
Raila
correct.
would really never, I hate him, let's get rid of him. He would disagree with you for about a week. On the third week, he would call you. You see, like when I lost my nomination on ODM and I was struggling with PDP, Raila called me and said, no, we don't want you to leave ODM, please stay around and everything. And as he's making those arguments, you had already quarreled with him and Fidel 2 days before.
Yeah.
But he talked to me like there was no issue, there were no questions. And finally, I think it is also important that some of these things are brought out in public. And I would like Kenyans to know the decision, because I asked Raila this question, and I'm sure you did, and I'm sure you did. Why did you support Kibaki and